Like the problem.
Oh, look it, I needed a thing, Lane.
I know, I told Howard.
You gotta stop eating it.
I didn't touch it.
Not yet. Okay. Good evening. This is the work session meeting of Monday, September 8th, 2025. It's 6:04 p.m. Could you please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you do the roll call, please?
Councilmember Brescher.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle. Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Patil. Councilmember Pointer.
Present.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Here.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you read adequate notice?
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by the annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, Desi Talk, and News India Times on November 18th, 2024, and posted in main lobby municipal complex on that same date.
Very much. So we go to number 4, review of the minutes. Any questions or comments on the August 25th review of the minutes? All right, seeing none.
Council President.
Yes.
I need to abstain from those minutes.
You can do that on Wednesday.
Oh,
All right,
thank you.
thank you. All right, unfinished business, we have the ordinances for further consideration, public hearing, and final adoption. Do we have any questions or comments about ordinance 2253? All right, seeing none. Do we have any questions or comments about ordinance 2254? Okay, any questions, comments about 2255? Good. Questions or comments about the last of the bond ordinances, 2256? All right. Moving on to 2257. Any questions or comments? All right. And 2258, questions or comments? All right, I have one question, and Sonia, maybe you can answer. Do you know, is there an acreage amount, what's the acreage for this property? Do we have that information? That?
I believe it's in New York.
Okay,
Second, I'm just looking at the
2258.
lot and block number here.
Okay. We can come back to that if you
If you
prefer.
wouldn't mind, there is a map here and I can look that
Okay,
up for you.
all right. All right, should we come back to that one?
I'm reading as fast as I can.
Okay, okay, all right. While we wait for that, ordinance 2259, questions or comments? Okay, well, that gave you about 15 more seconds. Okay, all right, we'll come back.
Council
to that.
President.
Yes.
I have a question on the bonds in general. If I could address Kendra Roberts. We're going out and getting bonded now for various things. And my question is, do we have a threshold on bonding and the amounts we bond in? How does that correlate with our budget?
Yes, the state limits any municipal government to issuing no more than 3.5% of what's called their equalized valuation basis. And that's what takes the average of a town's equalized rateable value over the past 3 years. So if we look at our annual debt statement from the end of 2024, our net debt as a percentage of equalized valuation was 0.891%. I mentioned the state allows us to go to 3.5%. So we're significantly under our debt limit. We have approximately 180 million of debt outstanding as of the end of 2024. So with the allowable limit that we can go, we could issue perhaps another $350 million in debt and still stay within the debt limit. Not to say that we would ever want to do that to afford it, but that's what we would have permissible. The other answer to that question is we do work diligently to manage our debt service to try to keep it stable so we avoid spikes each year, because as we're incurring new debt, we're paying off old debt or refinancing debt. So we currently try to maintain in the municipal budget to keep total debt service under $12 million a year, which we've been able to do the past couple of years and should be able to do for the next year or two.
Thank you. Thank you, Council President.
Still missing the acreage?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not in the ordinance, I apologize,
Okay.
but we'll get it for you.
Okay, Council Vice President? Do you want
Yeah.
to? Okay,
It's approximately an acre, just so you know, 27,000 on the northern property, about 15,000 on the southern property, so 42 plus or minus acres.
about an
46.
acre, you're saying? Give or take?
Almost exactly an acre.
Okay,
Council
very
President,
good. Yes,
can I continue off the bond question? Would that be okay? So Ken, what will be our equalized debt ratio after these bonds pass?
Give me a minute, I'll get that for you.
Thank you.
okay. Moving on to 6 from the Department of Finance, we have A through I. Questions or comments? Okay. I do have a question about the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Grant. Where do these funds go?
That's a police department grant.
Okay, all right. And is there any particular area in the EPD where that's going?
Let me just check with our captain if you give me a minute.
Okay. Is he there?
I text.
Okay. I don't know if he's
This is a
saying-
grant we've
Under
gotten every
finance?
year for 40 years, I know that. Right?
Okay. All right,
Council President,
yes.
I did have a question on H and I. I know we're just putting it into the budget, but what does that money get used for the Community Center Digital Connect project and the Strengthening Local Public Health Capacity Program?
Are you referring to number 7A?
6H and 6I.
Sorry, we're just going out of order, so if we could just go in order,
Okay.
I'd appreciate it. Which one are we working on first, the Burns or the Health Initiative?
Take it on. Sorry, I think I jumped the gun there.
I'm sorry?
I think they're still working on the Edward Vines.
Okay, all right. Do we proceed or do we wait?
No, we can wait.
Okay.
6H, is that what we're working on?
I don't know if you got your answers, Council President, for the Edward.
Well, my question was, it's fine in terms of G, so I think we're working on your question about
H.
H and I.
H and I. H, what would that money be used for? I know this is just essentially putting into our budget and we're approving that, but like, what would that money be?
This is going into our senior services, but I will confirm with you.
Okay.
Oh, are we done with that?
I guess.
Council President,
Yes.
I believe the business administrator was talking about the strengthening local. The Community Center Digital Connect, I believe, is involved with the Stelton Community Center project. That was an add-on to the initial $3 million grant that we got.
Correct, once the state passed their budget, we were able to get additional funds.
Thank you. Thank you, Council President.
Okay, thank you. All right. moving on to Department of Health, 7A. Questions, comments?
Council President,
Yes,
is there an amount on this grant?
it's 5,000, I understand, is from what I understand.
Correct. It is going into our health department for additional education.
That was my question, did you say it's going for additional education?
Correct. Related to our senior services. It's a fall prevention program. So there's some education to that that we're going to be providing.
So this would be educating the seniors? Okay,
Correct.
Home safety
I got it.
audits to
Okay.
make sure that they're.
Oh, okay. Excuse me one moment. Raj, can we do something about the mics over by the business administrator? And they're kind of soft right now. Thank you. Anything else on 7A? Okay. Going on to 8, Department of Planning and Engineering, A. Okay. From the Department of Public Works, A, 9. Okay.
Council President?
Yes.
I'm good with this. I was just curious if on the during the Edison Jets field, I believe the original bleachers got moved to the opposite side, the visiting field. Am I recalling that correctly? There was a change order in regards to the bleachers, in regards to the football field, which I know this is separate. But the original bleachers that were on the home field side, those were repurposed to the visiting field side, correct?
Correct.
I
Correct.
just wanted to refresh my memory. Thank you, Council President.
Sure, okay. Number 10, A, from the Chief of Police. Questions, comments? Okay. Department of Water and Sewer, 11A.
Council President?
Yes, Councilman.
So I understand that we are renting 2 trucks right now. I just want to know what's the cost, just so curious as to what's the cost of them and how long.
Are you referring to the actual resolution? It's $329,000.
No, but that's why we're buying that truck. But currently, we're renting 2 trucks because for the department. How much is that renting costing us?
Hold on one second. 100. Is that part of our emergency services contract? Because that usually runs about $1 million.
Okay. All right, thank
But
you.
that may be all inclusive. So let me just get that breakdown for you for the actual rental of the 2 trucks.
Okay, thank you.
Number 12, from the Township Clerk, the resolutions of recognition for A through C. Questions? Comments? Okay. All right, we are at oral petitions and remarks. Yes, Esther.
Esther Barkett, Edison. Good evening, Council. I'm here tonight to follow up on a previous correspondence concerning a new threat to our environment and health, the Northeast Supply Enhancement Project, also known as NESSE. I know you previously passed a resolution opposing the second gas power plant in Casby and another in support of the New Jersey Climate Superfund Act. I thank you for that. Although defeated twice before, NESSE, a project of the Williams Transco Company, is once again up for consideration with the full support of the Trump administration. This project would create new fossil fuel infrastructure to bring fracked methane gas from Pennsylvania through parts of Middlesex County and then under the Raritan Bay, which would be dredged, and into New York. Part of this project also includes building a compressor station in Franklin Township, which is right on the border between Somerset and Middlesex counties. The coalition of environmental organizations known as Empower New Jersey and their many supporters oppose that project, and I'm asking for your support as well in opposing it. A resolution from Edison Township Council opposing NESSE would send a clear message to the New Jersey DEP and Governor Murphy, who does have the power to stop it, that we do not want nor need this project. Unfortunately, Governor Murphy has been vague and evasive on this issue, which is very concerning, considering he was the one that set these 100% clean energy by 2035. Okay. Members of the Edison community watching this meeting are also encouraged to submit comments to Governor Murphy opposing this project, but no later than September 24th. So why is this a bad idea? As a state and a community, we are backtracking on our goals to move steadily toward 100% renewable energy. And we've made steady progress in the areas of electric and hybrid cars, solar and wind energy, and other sustainable practices necessary to address the dramatic and dangerous consequences of global warming. NESE would reverse that progress. Methane gas is toxic, both to the environment and our health. Pipelines that carry the gas notoriously leak, risking explosions, damage to property, and contamination of our air, soil, and water. Methane is also a major contributor to global warming, which has led to so many catastrophic weather events. Building new fossil fuel infrastructure creates more incentive to continue drilling and fracking for fossil fuels like methane, taking us in the wrong direction. And dredging the floor of the Raritan Bay and installing gas pipelines pose great risks to our marine ecosystem, as well as shipping, fishing, and other industries that rely on the bay. And Edison is near the bay, and we could be vulnerable in a catastrophic event. Studies show that New Jersey doesn't really need this energy from the fossil fuel, and we're not designated to get it, yet most of the risk from the project falls on our communities. I've previously provided a sample resolution, information concerning how you can participate in the DEP public hearing, which is September 10th. Unfortunately, you have another council meeting, but you can learn more about the problem. And please use your voice to stand up for the health and safety of your community and your constituents. Science is on your side. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Esther. Very good. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Can you give your name and address if you care to?
Sure, thank you. Good evening, council members. My name is Ephraim Morris. I am a resident at 236 Highland Avenue in Edison, New Jersey, and I've been a resident in Edison, New Jersey since 2009. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So I'd like to take the opportunity to sort of speak about a pervasive issue that has existed over the last 10 years plus in Edison on the corner of Washington and Marshall, as well as on the corner of Marshall and Highland Avenue. There's a standing body of water that exists on those streets, and due to a lack of drainage in the, in the streets, or proper drainage, the body of water exists throughout the year. The water exists throughout the summer, whether or not there's rain, whether during the winter, whether or not there's any snowstorms, as well as in the spring and the fall. The body of water obstructs people with any mobility issues from crossing the sidewalk. There is a ramp that goes down to the John Marshall School, which is routinely traversed by people every single morning trying to get to the school. It's also a religious observant area where people are using those crosswalks to cross on a daily basis. The streets have various different elderly people who are unable to use the crosswalks, creating a danger to everyone who's trying to cross. We routinely requested that the Department of Public Works look into it with zero response. During the summer, children play in it. There's mosquitoes, there's mold, there's a variety of other health concerns that need to be addressed. And throughout the years, we've just sort of been ignored despite multiple requests. I have various different pictures, which I'm more than happy to present. Those pictures represent times where there has been no rain. So it is a standing body of water. Anyone who drives by it at any point in time, in addition to the mobility issues, there's obviously an aesthetic component that creates a sort of, an eyesore on the community. But the real principal issue is that you have children who cannot utilize the crosswalk. You have elderly people who cannot utilize the crosswalk. You have people in strollers. You have people with walkers. During the winter, the area is completely flooded over and iced over, creating a tripping and a slip and fall hazard. It's only a matter of time before somebody's seriously injured based on the inability to remedy the situation. I'll be very short because I don't have that much to say, but the issue is apparent. Anybody can drive by it at any given time and see the issue. Winter's coming, it's only going to get worse. I really urge the council to address it in short time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can we follow up with this gentleman? And do you need any pictures, or do you need anything from him?
I did receive the request and looked into it. It's a PSCNG project. There's some additional information that I'm going to
Okay.
get to you.
Thank you, Council President. I spoke with Councilman Shmuel earlier today. What we need to do, sir, is we need to get somebody out there with eyes on it, and we'll do that within the next day or two, because we really need to see it. These flooding, puddling issues can be challenging, and there's a lot of engineering sometimes that is involved, and maybe sometimes it's a little easier, but we need to go out and look at it, and we're going to take care of that now. Sure.
First of all, thank you very much. Appreciative of that. This past weekend, there was children ages 4, 5, and 6 that were playing in the water, licking the water, jumping in the water. It's a real health issue. So the concern is real. So anything that you can do to sort of expedite that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Anyone else from the public? Yes, Tom.
Good evening, Thomas Lucky, Netherwood Circle. About these bond ordinances that are going, I guess, up for vote, especially what 2253 and 2254, they don't pertain to everybody in the township. Reading through 2253, the ordinance doesn't say anything. It says payment will be by Edison, but with the water and with the garbage trucks, with solid waste trucks, they don't. That's not townships. Spread over the township. I live in the north side of town where I've got private collection because the town didn't want to at the time put in or buy the extra equipment to satisfy the growth on that side of town. Likewise, I have Middlesex Water, whereas now I don't have Edison Water. When these bonds come due or something like that, I would appreciate and I would hope to get an answer that the ordinance would contain language so that not everybody in the town has to bear the burden of the payments of these bonds. The one thing, that fall protection would be great, because when those bonds come through, all these seniors are going to fall down with their new tax bill to pay for, pushing the debt farther down the street, kicking the can down the road, per se. Okay, so that's my one thing about that. Excuse me. Then I'd also like to talk about storm preparedness. A couple months ago, Kerrville happened. Apparently, the town of Kerrville wasn't prepared for the flood. And then you look at they had a bunch of specials on about Katrina and how the town had a preparedness. I think they called it Hurricane Pam, but they never invoked or got the buses to help people get out. It was just a real tragedy what happened. With these microbursts that we're having and the storms and possible hurricanes that might be coming in down, we're still in hurricane season, as well as like any natural disasters. Can we dust off our emergency management plan and look to see if it is still valid, if it can be improved on, or what it's going to take in a case so that when a natural disaster does happen, this township is prepared for it. Lastly, the inverted speed bumps on by Calvert on Grove Avenue. I was here 2 months ago. Chief Byron said to me he was going to send a cruiser out there to look at them. I came down Grove Avenue today just to see. No, nothing's been done. And what does it take to get something done in this township? When I sat down, it was always like that. It's the pavement sunk. No, it's a subgrading that's been paved, and the final paving hasn't been performed. Need an answer on that. Lastly, something that always sticks in my craw: the sports building. What's the latest dollar sign on that? is there going to be a post-mortem done after that is completed, and who's going to pay for all the extras? Please, I
Thank you,
look for
Tom.
answers.
Yes. Let's start. Counselor, can I go to you on the ordinances he asked about?
Sure. So, sir, you're correct. I just went over and confirmed it with the CFO. So purchases that are made for the garbage district are paid for out of the garbage district, and purchases made for the water utility are paid out of the water utility. Those are both what's known as self-liquidating utilities, which means the costs are paid for by the users. So the people who pay the garbage district tax will pay for those trucks, and the people who pay the water utility tax or pay water utility rates actually will pay for the other. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's correct. So you are exactly correct. They're not paid for by the taxpayers in general.
Okay, all right. He had the question about storm preparedness and any revisions that need to be made.
So we are actually currently updated in terms of our emergency preparedness. Just in the last year or so, especially most recently the 6 months in these microbursts, if you will. So our team is equipped with not just administration, but actually some school administrators and their folks, because and county folks, because we have partners in this. And so anything that's related to storm preparedness, we do get on a call. We issue out press releases as you've seen them. So we do speak to each other regularly. I'll use an example, Woodbridge Avenue, when not necessarily related to emergency preparedness, but it was an emergency. So in that event, what we did, we made sure all of our departments, DPW, our utility, everyone was boots on the ground. And so we had our vehicle, our emergency vehicle, so that gets enacted. And so we are as prepared as we can. We are pretty up to date with the weather. Our OEM coordinator provides all of those updates, I would say 2-3 days in advance, up to hours before the storm. And so what our DPW does, they do go out and they clean our catch basins. So that in itself is taken care of. And we have crews that actually stay here, even if it's just to be proactive and it's not necessary, but we usually typically leave four bodies here that would, just in case that we need some overlap with the storms, if it's after hours.
All right. Thank you.
Council President,
Yes,
could I add to that?
of course.
I just want to, our Chair of Public Works in our committee meets with Department of Public Works regularly and OMS with Chief Toth. So when it comes to disaster or flooding, we definitely are prepared when it comes to generators, on-site, off-site generators. We have on-site charging stations. I mean, as she mentioned before, we've cleaned all our catch basins before a flood, not just one, the entire town. Chief Toth has an entire book that he can go over with you if that's open to the administration, but I can tell you we're prepared. There's no book to dust off that you mentioned. It's an active working opportunity through the chief and the administration, and I can tell you firsthand in our committee for DPW, we're active. It's a question Councilman Patil asks, Councilman Presser asks. We ask these questions to make sure they're prepared. Tree crews, tree lines, PSC&G, communication with all utility companies. If there's a disaster, trees go down, we can't just go out there without utility companies and professional linemen removing those lines first. So there's a standard of operation of cleaning main roads and communicating with all, different organizations and public safety people and the state and the county. So I'm impressed with what Chief Toth can do. I mean, if you saw in the past, he brought 4 giant tanker water trucks to a disaster within 30 minutes. I mean, it's quite amazing what's done here. So I appreciate the questions, but I definitely want to back it up that, I think with this administration, we've not only been prepared, but we've invested more money in infrastructure and opportunities and trucks. So I hope that answers your question. I'm certainly open to talk offline as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. The next question was about the speed bumps on Grove that have not apparently been addressed. And so I don't know if we want to give this to Captain or?
Actually, I'd like to bring our township engineer, Mr. Piccarello.
Okay, sure.
Elizabethtown Gas was actually scheduled to pave last week for the first week of school. Talking with the traffic department, we asked them to postpone it 2 weeks. Right now, they're tentatively scheduled to go do their final restoration in that neighborhood next week. Once I get actual confirmation from them, I will let you know.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Brian. And finally, the current cost of the sports complex.
We'll get that to you, the exact amount with all of the change orders.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Council President,
Yes.
before you move forward, Brian, again, thank you for that update on the Grove Avenue, Grove Culvert, that section. Hopefully, Elizabeth Gas can inform the neighborhood, at least inform them, putting some tags, etc., that work will be there, because we are in active school session and there is a school close by. We don't want residents to be impacted heavily on that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patil. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Council President. Good evening, Council. Anonymous. I want to start off by saying,
I'm sorry, sir, can you speak more into the microphone?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just trying to gather my thoughts. I want to start off by saying, well, I'll start with, you know, I haven't brought up the security checkpoint issue. I brought it up last time to you guys, but I haven't been, you know, mentioning it to the officers manning the security checkpoint in quite a while. And then when I, you know, questioned them about it and said, you know, you're not going to let me in unless I go through this, and I did my whole spiel about how I think it's a violation of my Fourth Amendment right, all of a sudden my keys that I bring into every meeting all of a sudden was a problem because there's a little scissors on it that look like a pocket knife, and we made a big deal of it, and then we had to get Maddie to go look at it, and I just, you know, now I ask questions, and now I get it giving me a hard time. I mean, like, I just don't understand that. I really don't. Last time I actually did, out of all the people that showed up, I actually somehow scathed that security checkpoint for the first time. I walked in with Joe Coyle, and the township engineer was trying to not let me in. He came in, he didn't go through the security checkpoint, and he was trying to stand in my way, you know, but I come to the same meeting with the same keys, and I think that's ridiculous. I want to say, I do want to mention, through the chair to John Poinier, I know I mentioned it last time, and I just want to reinforce that you did a substantial job last time as acting as council president. That was a very high-tension meeting, and it was a lot of passion was going left and right. And when I watched back the meeting, I was like, yeah, you just did a really good job, and you know what you're doing, and I do appreciate that. And I really like how you told the public that they, you know, don't have to give their name and address. It's not absolutely required. That's progress, and I do really appreciate that. And I like how you did that as well, Council President. I think it's important. One of the members who spoke, one of the residents or a citizen, came up and spoke, and she remained anonymous. And had she not known that she had that ability, she may not have even spoken. So we wouldn't have had her public input. Funny enough, she had made some, you know, bigoted comments, and through the chair to Nish Patel, I thank you for speaking up and saying what you said, because that needed to be said. You backed up Councilman Brescher. I was proud to see you do that. I saw something in the both of you that I hadn't seen previously. I'm here to, we really need to get back to the 6 minutes. I don't know, you know, I'm going to keep coming to the meeting, and I'm going to keep bringing it up. There's not even a lot of people here. And, you know, I just want to see at the residents' expense, because I came here and I was trying to prove a point, and the point was proven, and a national mistake was made because people trusted this law firm that wrote the worst ordinance in New Jersey, and it was a bad mistake, and there still wasn't apologies made by Councilman Coyle. And I had thanked you, Nish, when you had made apology for it. You made a couple apologies, and I had mentioned that, and I do want to give praise and recognition where it's due. But there still has never been an apology from Councilman Coyle. There hasn't been an apology from the guy on the right. I don't think that you apologize either, John. And, that still bothers me. It really does. But, I don't like that at the residents' expense. And I'm not saying you should bring the public speaking time back from me. No, it should be for the residents. They shouldn't have to pay the price for the mistakes that you guys made along the way because of all the hysteria that was created on this side of the dais. There was violations galore. Everybody, and the same guy who was giving me the trouble with the scissors was the same guy who was on national TV for throwing out Joel for waving a flag. Don't give me a hard
Thank you,
time
sir.
because I'm bringing issues up.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Okay. We move to, motion to close?
Motion to close?
Yeah, motion to close, public portion.
Second.
Okay, thank you. You didn't put that on. It's okay, it's okay. All right, points of light. I'm sorry, I forgot one. Council committees and board commission liaison reports, starting from my left, Mr. Shmuel.
Not at this time.
Okay, Councilman Patil.
None at this time.
Councilman Patel.
So for open space, we met on September 4th at this chambers. Wanted to get some updates from the engineering for open space, if you don't mind, Brian, for both the JCP&L and the Stephenville Island Path, if you have any updates.
Sorry. The JCP&L, we have all the RFPs back from surveyors. We get to choose one and send them out to start doing the design work. Realistically, it'll be bid next year. As for the Stephenville, I'm still waiting on Enbridge. They gave initial feedback with concern with some of the trees that may be impacted, just providing guidance that any trees we take down, we can't just grab the roots and pull. We have to do stump grinding, but I'm still waiting on actual engineering comments.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Well,
And also, open space wanted to update on the Potts Road, if we have updates on that.
I'm sorry, my mic's a little funny. Potts Road, so there was a notice that was issued last week with respect to the car dealership that's there, so there will be some follow-up with regard to that.
Okay, thank you. And I think that would be it for open space.
Thank you. Council Vice President.
I do have an update for the Environmental Commission, but I think it ties in with points of light, so I'm just going to do it at points of light. Thank you, Council President.
Okay. Moving over to Councilman Coyle.
I'm going to pass, Council President.
Okay. Councilman Brescher?
None at this time.
All right. Councilman Coyle, just make sure you put your microphone in when you're ready to speak. Okay.
I'm going to pass.
Okay. All right. So you're passing altogether?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. As for me, the animal shelter, we had 41 felines adopted, 5 canines, and 1 bird. And of the 5 canines, I'm really happy to announce that one of the longest in the shelter, he was there for 297 days, and that was Trapper, a lovely, lovely pit bull, was finally adopted, and I'm really so happy for him. Currently shelter 12 canines and 45 felines. The Cultural Arts Commission did not meet last month. We're meeting tomorrow, and the Library Board also will be meeting tomorrow. That's the end of my committee reports. Now we move to points of light. Who's got points of light? Council Vice President.
Thank you, Council President. Again, if you were mentioning this, I apologize. The Edison Township Environmental Commission is having a green fair this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's September 13th at Swells Park. There's going to be community groups, educational exhibits, sustainability initiatives, and local demonstrations highlighting Edison's commitment to a cleaner, greener future. I hope you are able to attend. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Any other points of light? For myself, we have several events coming up. The 9/11 Remembrance Ceremonies is coming Thursday, September 11th at 6 p.m. at the 9/11 Memorial. On September 13th, which is Saturday, from 4 to 8 p.m. is the Great Big Italian Festival at Papiani Park. September 17th is the Suicide Awareness and Prevention Program that will be held at the JCC at 7 p.m. And finally, on September 27th, which is the Saturday, is the Fall Family Spectacular, which will be at Amboy Avenue, and that starts at 1 o'clock. I'd also, during my points of light, I also want to echo what this gentleman here said about Council Vice President's presiding over the meeting on August 25th. I was away on vacation, but I did watch the entire meeting, and I was also impressed by what a great job he did. It was some pretty tough stuff that was going on. You handled yourself beautifully, and I'm so glad to have you as my wingman. All right, we move on to discussion items. Let's start with you, Councilman Brescher. Oh, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. To get back to you, Tom, the answer to your question about the sports complex is 11.6 million. Okay? All right, proceed.
All right, the flooding, I'm not going to talk about today. That's part of this bonding and stuff. But I'd like to know, and when I say affordable housing, I know that we had the litigation and there's some resolve to that, or there's a plan, let's say, to move forward, right?
Yes, there's a plan to move forward. That's correct.
Is there any way, and this is my I guess the biggest problem that I have, okay, and it's a problem I have with government. It's not just here in Edison. It's probably with most of the communities in New Jersey. Whether we're going to build 400 units or we're going to build 700 units, to me is irrelevant, right? I mean, a court's going to tell us, and we're going to have to build what's dictated to us, basically. But my bigger concern is that 30 years from now, we're still going to have to build 400 or 700 units because technically we're never going to meet our affordable housing obligation because the affordable housing falls off the affordable housing rolls as a whole over time. What can be done to make sure that when we say we're building 400 units, they're going to be 400 units for the next 50 years or 100 years, as opposed to 20, which means we're always having to chase the tail for our affordable housing? Yes.
So the primary way to do that is that under the new law and under CO's regulations is that there is the concept of extending controls. So since, I'm going to say for probably 20 years, COAs form, they call it affordable housing mortgages, but they really were the deed restrictions, all said 30 years and until such time as released by the municipality. So one of the tools that we have, for instance, in this round that we had in the last round also, is that we can find units that their controls would expire during the fourth round, and we can either pay or negotiate to extend those controls further. So that's one of the ways you do it, and it's very effective because, as you said, it's without building new houses, but it's keeping the affordable units. So I think that's the way you do it. So during this round, we will be looking for units that have expiring controls, and we will look to extend those controls. And once again, you try to extend them for 30 years at a time. And in Mount Laurel world, that's 3 rounds, so that's a good period of time. But I couldn't tell you right now where we are because as you said, the court's given us 5 months to put that plan together, and we're working diligently to do that. But certainly that's one of the mechanisms you'll see in the plan.
Okay. No, very happy about that because that's my, I recognize we need affordable housing, but I also recognize that the township is at our capacity as far as being built unless we allow more, call them multifamily or larger scale developments. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Councilman Deal, Mr. Deal, or ex-Councilman Deal. Actually, you'll always be Councilman Deal to me. always be my Councilman
Principal
Deal.
You can call him.
Well, it wouldn't be my vice principal, but Councilman Deal. For the veterans, can we get that, I know that you were working with DPW, right? And there were certain aspects about the memorial and the project there that, that you determined that, or DPW determined, that they could handle in-house. Can we just get like a breakdown of what's going to be done in-house and then what we have to look to do outside, and maybe a timeline of what we can do in-house?
Councilman, can I provide you with an actual update of what we are doing in-house?
Yes.
Okay, so what we have is 2 seating benches, and those are ordered along with 2 new signs. They're about 6 weeks out. So we should be ready for Veterans Day. Okay. We're also getting the concrete replaced, if you recall, when we did that walkthrough. So we're going to get the quotes from outside, see what that looks like. If it's good, then we'll proceed. If not, that may be something we may be able to do. I'm not sure yet, but we just need to get some quotes on that. And some of the other outside projects, we're just going to do some additional conversations with administration to see globally what that looks like. And we talked about lighting.
Right.
If you recall. So we may have to put some bids out and whatnot, because I know with lighting, you're talking about, it could range from 40,000 to 50,000 to 80,000. So we want to make sure exactly what the overall look we're going for with the poles and with the water fountain.
And could you just confirm too that the concrete's going to include the footings for the stone monuments themselves?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Councilman Brescher?
No, that would be
all
it.
right.
Thank you.
Councilman Coyle?
Thank you, Council President. I'm just going to talk about affordable housing. I'm not one to argue and defend us when it comes to owing the opportunity for young and middle-aged and older individuals to have an opportunity to live in Edison. So when it comes to us, defending Edison for affordable housing to fulfill an obligation set by the state, a standard, I don't care how we do in court. I really don't, because the fight of preventing people to live in Edison, it's a shame. It's a shame. And I know that we do it by guidelines to have this steadily grow into our community, and I understand that, and I think that's what the point is. But when I hear from residents who want to stop the opportunity for affordable housing, I'm sickened, because this gives people the opportunity to live in Edison, join into one of the best school systems around, live in a great place, and raise a family. So I hope we fulfill every number in our obligation for people who deserve to live in Edison. People may say it's going to be, we don't want them here. People qualify to be in Edison with a combined income of $85,000 for affordable housing. That's a young school teacher and a first-year police officer in some neighborhoods. So it's all kinds of people who can reach this opportunity, and I just think it's something we should support. I know this council gets it and supports it and believes in affordable housing, and I can't wait to see more come to Edison. I think we're behind the 8 ball. This is something good that happened through the court system and that we are mandated to fulfill this obligation. So anytime you come to this microphone, there's only a few. I believe a lot of you in this audience support affordable housing. I'm the wrong person to talk to and ask whether we could cut back or hold back on this opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity to see families come to Edison and join the school system, be a part of it being an Edison resident. So that's all I have to say, Council President, and thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Patel?
So I just wanted to clarify our standings on the affordable housing. I know there were some rumors on the open social media about we lost the case, but I did talk to the legal counsel, and he did update me, but I would like the residents to know, so if legal counsel can clarify.
So I'm actually updating advice that we provided, a memo that we provided to council in August. And it's far be it for me to apologize for the home news, but I did talk to them after their story, and the reporter acknowledged to me that the headline was incorrect and that the story was inaccurate. But of course, they're not going to correct it. So what really happened was there was the town's motion for temporary immunity, which was granted. There are a number of interveners, which we knew would happen. The court has now set a briefing schedule on the issue of, first, the issue of what the township's obligation would be. We are currently working with the planning staff to prepare a report. We are required to file that motion by September 17th, which we will in a timely fashion. We anticipate that the hearing will be, I believe that the date right now is set for October 20th, and that depends on whether or not the court wants to have just oral argument or a hearing. So that will happen parallel with us, the 5-month period that we've been given by the court to begin preparing our housing element and fair share plan. So this is the first step in what is a relatively, I don't want to say a really long process, because I think there's not that many impediments to us moving swiftly through this process. But as we go through each step of the way, we'll come back to council, because obviously when we put a fair share plan in, it has to be endorsed by council. It has to be, ultimately, the plan gets adopted by the planning board and approved by council and then submitted to the court. So we'll be back to council in each step of the way. And the question as to what actually the obligation is of course subject to not only a court hearing but appellate review if that needs to be reviewed. So that's where we are, and I'm sorry that the story, the newspaper got it so wrong. It was pretty shocking to me, given the fact that I heard the decision in real time, and sometimes I don't know. Maybe I'm not in the same place as somebody else who I just don't understand. But we'll continue to provide memos to council and keep you up to date on where we are.
Thank you, counsel. I wanted to talk about the animal shelter. The open space had an issue that they were worried that it might be encroaching on open space, but I think Sonia provided that they have reviewed it and we are going to be okay on that aspect.
Correct. So the plan is to not encroach on any more open space. So if you're envisioning what the animal shelter looks now, so there's a sort of open concrete area. So that will be the, I guess, supposed expansion, if you will. Okay. So it'll be a welcoming center, and then everything inside will get an update so that what we currently are doing is we've created dedicated spaces for quarantine and then for sort of intake and outtake. So, but at the very least, creating that welcoming center will create a better environment altogether for the office staff too, and for families coming in.
I think that sounds good to me as well. We already discussed Potts Road, and I think I spoke to Open Space about the bike rack, and I think they're okay with it. We should be okay.
They're okay with that one right in between?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
but
perfect.
if there's any issues, I'll bring it back.
And by the way, we do see it getting used by some of our employees who do ride to work that are local.
And I want to follow up with Ken. Did you get the ratio with the updated bond?
Yes, the ratio will increase to 0.985%.
But we're still under 1. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Patio.
Thank you, Council President. The first one is Resident Advisory Committee. We only have 3 applications so far. My council colleagues are back. Hopefully we can schedule some interviews either this week, next week, at least with the current applicants. But through this forum, I'm asking the residents to please apply. We need more people so we can select the right members to the advisory committee. And we are looking for residents from north end, south end, especially. We do have applications from the Clara Barton section, but we really need applications from the south and north end. The next one is ground speed reduction. Again, this was discussed among the council members. I will skip for this, but I will socialize this within the council members to see if we can extend the speed limit all the way to the Inman Avenue. Water and sewer bonds, again, there are several questions. There is a lot confusion because we have the bonds, roughly close to $50 million out of that, chunk is for the other infra work. The questions are really, simple, but it's really difficult to understand. As our attorney said, we have the utilities which are self-liquidating, and those are very specific to those utilities. If there is any bond that's linked to the water utility, it will only be applicable to the consumers of that water utility. That means Edison Water Utility. It will not impact anybody from the north end of the town. Sewer is common across the board, it's throughout the town, so it is applicable to everyone. Just want to make this confusion clear that if there is any bond that's linked with Edison Water Utility will go against any taxes or towards the north end or anyone who is not using that. So I want to make it very clear. Brower Street paving status, thank you, Sonia. Hopefully they will keep the September date this time, and it will no more be postponed because residents are desperately waiting for that road to be paved. Schedule of road paving programs. I did visit various sections of north, south, and I see a tremendous work on the concrete ramps. It's a huge undertaking providing those handicap ramps there. I'm happy to see the work in progress. And hopefully once that is done, you can provide us weekly update on this road paving program. That's it. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Hatil. Councilman Shmuel, did you want to expand anything on the flooding on Washington and Marshall?
No, I think we discussed that. I would just ask that if you keep me in the loop on any updates and what the next steps are. But could I ask a question on what Councilman Patel asked with regards to the bonds, the utility bonds? If we take these bonds, then that at a cost would go to the consumer, correct?
Yes. So the bonds, so the garbage, these two utilities are a little bit different, right? So the garbage district, people in the garbage district pay a garbage district tax. So that is the funding mechanism for the repayment of those bonds. In the water utility, it's the water rates that pay for it. So it doesn't get paid for by the ad valorem property tax, in other words.
Is there a different vehicle in our budget that we could use to update our water system rather than raising costs?
You mean raising the water rates?
Yeah.
Well, once again, it's self-liquidating. So by that, it means the state tells us that the costs to operate that utility have to be supported by the rates that are paid. That's essentially what it is. Because otherwise, as a gentleman pointed out, and I think correctly, people who don't have water service and who are paying water service to Middlesex Water or somebody else would be subsidizing the costs for the water utility ratepayers.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Council Vice President.
Thank you, Council President. Nothing pertaining to the actual items. Can I just offer clarification because people have asked about the Peter J. Barnes Preserve? Just so that people are aware, there are only 3 members on the Peter J. Barnes, the 3rd Preservation Commission that are from Edison. Mr. Spiegel, who was the Edison Wetlands Association representative, resigned from the commission and is no longer part of that. So anyone that has been asking about a number of people from Edison on that commission, it is within the state guidelines. So I just wanted to make that statement. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you very much. For myself, I'm going to go work backwards. There has been, for the entire year, a vacancy on the library board, and I'm wondering what the status of filling that is.
Council President, I apologize. I did bring this up to the mayor, and he's working on that, and hopefully to provide an appointment soon.
Okay, all right. I know the farmer's market was discontinued. Is there talk of putting it somewhere else and maybe on a better day for next year?
That is in conversation. The date and the location potentially may have been an issue for, when the main farmer, if you will. So I think once we get that one farmer and can accommodate that, then we can bring some other vendors into play.
Okay.
So I'll get back to you. Usually planning starts in January.
Okay, I hope that happens. I have a resident who has started doing some cooking classes at the JCC, and with the senior center, a lot of talk about the fact that there aren't enough activities. I'm wondering if she would be willing to certainly do cooking classes at the senior center. Is there a possibility of that happening, putting her in touch with, or at the community center for that matter? Would there be a possibility for cooking classes to be offered?
We can certainly look into it. Is there a program specific you're talking about with the JCC?
I think she's just doing, this is the first time she's actually offering this, and she offered it, and they accepted it. And I don't know if the members of the JCC paid something. I can find out from her. I'll be talking to her on Wednesday. But it's something that I think would be very stimulating for either people at a community center or at the JCC. So let me get back to you on to get some more specifics from her about that.
Sure.
Okay.
Happy to look into it. Thank you.
Okay. Wondering about, we have parks and the parks are being improved, but I was recently in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, visiting a friend, which is outside of Cleveland. And I was also in Hennepin County in Minnesota, outside of Minneapolis. And both these areas have such a wonderful park system. And the one that really, they're both terrific. But the one that really impressed me was the one in Cuyahoga County, which has a number of nature and science centers. And they're not just parks, but they are nature science centers that there was one that had, my friend took me to 3 of them, one that had a butterfly house, which was just amazing, which was such a terrific experience, an interactive experience. Another one that had some just basic wild animals, that had birds like, we would have raptors like owls and hawks and eagles, and some ground types of animals as well. And these are all obviously taxpayer funded, but they are free, they are wonderful. And I'm wondering if we can maybe look into establishing a nature science center at one of our existing parks. I don't know which one that would be, but I really would like to see us up our game when it comes to our parks. So is that anything we can look at?
Council
Yes.
President, okay. You know, or you may know that this was one of the ideas that we've had for over 10 years to create that type of thing, but really the best location is the Peter Barnes Preserve. The parks are really small to create a nature center. Just to let everybody know, probably one of the best projects moving forward, at least in my opinion, and maybe with Council Vice President agreeing with me, we have hundreds of acres of Peter Barnes Preserve. It took us years to get the meets and bounds put together so we could identify what the actual preserve was. But the next step and the vision has always been to create a state-of-the-art nature preserve, nature center at the preserve. The opportunities are really endless. Back in the day, I'm going to go back probably 15 years, we spent a lot of time and had a lot of meetings on some of the things that you were talking about, and you just touched on them, but we can really take this to a whole nother level. Keep in mind that years ago, our township, our Board of Education spent over $100,000 every year. Back then, it was $150,000 to take our children to Camp Bernie, and the only time we could get was in February, because Camp Bernie was so desirable to other townships that was the only time slot we could get. Think about having a nature center at the Peter Barnes Preserve that we could open up. And when you talk about taxpayer cost, that would actually be a revenue generator for the township. And we estimated at least $1 million a year. So it is a wonderful project. It's a wonderful idea. I know I'm going on a little bit about it, but it was a passion of mine. I'm hoping that our council vice president, who is now on the Peter Barnes Preserve, if you look into that again, creating that, the possibilities of a 600-acre nature center, the preserve is over 600 acres, but the nature center, the opportunities are really endless. And Council Vice President, I implore you to take the baton and run with it. It is a great, great idea for Edison.
Yes, Council Vice President?
Just to piggy off that, and I apologize for taking time. I know an item that we've previously discussed, I understand there are environmental concerns because of the Superfund site nearby, but Edison owns a property in the preserve at 205 Tyler Road that the Environmental Commission, this is going back like a decade, had always had interest in updating that property to act as like an environmental center. It is at the entranceway of one of the trailheads there, so that might be an opportunity. But again, noting that it's right next to an environmental site, so there are some logistic concerns with that.
Okay.
Thank you, Council President.
Please, let's talk further about this, and please let me know if there's anything I can do to help work on this. I really would like to see this developed. I just was so impressed with what I saw especially in Cuyahoga County, Ohio. All right, last and not least, public speaking time. I intend to bring this up during my council discussion points at every meeting until the end of the year, the end of my term. And the public has certainly spoken and spoken and spoken, and I want to look at this from every angle that I can. And so one of the angles is that we as council members have unlimited time to speak. And so whether it's on any of the resolutions, whether it's on our council discussion points, I know I have not put a timer to it. I can certainly recommend that some of the residents put a timer on the speaking time. But during council discussion remarks, I know that there have been times that the councilmen have spoken for 20 plus minutes or so, and that's fine, and then there's no limit on that. But the fact that there is this disparity between the unlimited council speaking time and the disparity between what the residents are able to do is, you can put all the statistics you want about how efficient and all of that is. This is not about numbers. It's not about the numbers of statistics. This is about a visceral issue. This is visceral to the public. The public does not care about the statistics that you give with regard to how efficient the meeting was this way or that way. The public is concerned about the visceral aspect of this 1/3 of their time having been taken away from them. And it continues to be an issue. We repealed what had been the foolish the props ban. We did that, and the council members saw the error of their ways, and I'm proud of everybody who did that. But on this one, there's just been, I'm going to call it stubbornness and digging heels in. I don't understand it. I don't. And it's driven it's driven members of the public away. It's driven people who used to come regularly. It's driven them away. And if that was the aim of the council members who have voted against moving it back to 6 minutes, well, you got what you wanted from that, because you have a lot of people who used to come regularly and they don't come anymore. So once again, and as I said, I will bring this up every single meeting until the end of my term, I am asking this council to reconsider restoring the 6 minutes, and yes, the rebuttals. It's a visceral issue. It's not about statistics. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, any other council comments before we wrap up? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned at 7:13 PM. Thank you very much.